here's your host of Wall Street Unspun, the president of Euro Pacific Capital and a licensed broker with a passion for truth. It's Wall Street Unspun with Peter Schiff.
Hi, everybody. Welcome again to another live episode of Wall Street Unspun. I'm Peter Schiff. I'm doing a show live from Los Angeles in the 5 p.m. time zone West Coast, 8 p.m. out on the East Coast. The number to call toll-free, 888-678-9597, 888-678-9597. I do this show every Wednesday evening on shortwave radio, 5.07 megahertz, and on my website, www.europac.net. Anyway, we just came back from the San Francisco Hard Asset Conference. A lot of people showed up there. I know when I gave the keynote address and when I gave my special 2-hour presentation that we emailed out, we had standing room only, probably 1,000-plus people came into San Francisco. Very, very good turnout if anybody was there. Glad to meet you if you want to call in and talk about the Hard Asset Conference. As far as I know, I'm not sure when I'm speaking next. I think it might be the Money Show in Orlando. I'm not positive. Although I know I have another speaking engagement coming out in the Saudi Arabia trip that I'm doing in January. Oh, I know I will be on CNN on Friday. I don't think I put that on the website yet. I totally forgot. I don't even remember what time I'm doing CNN. I think it's in the morning, 10:30ish or something. I forget exactly. When I look at it, I might put it up on the website. So check tomorrow for when I'll be on CNN. I also had a hit on Bloomberg. I think on Monday I did it out of L.A. I don't know if it's on my website. No, I saw it up on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, the YouTube clip that I did, that was done about me, the Peter Schiff was right one. The views on that now are upwards of 750,000. I think it's going to go over 800,000. There is an article about that video in the New York Times, which is online right now. It comes out tomorrow. Also, NPR Marketplace, which has about 15 million audience, they are doing a 10-minute, 12-minute segment about that YouTube clip that'll going to run tomorrow. So there's a lot more press coverage. I still think ultimately that clip is going to get to over 1 million views, which is pretty remarkable. So many people are able to see it. There was another YouTube clip that somebody else had put together that I thought was kind of interesting. It's not the same person. It looked like it was a different person. It was called Peter Schiff Analogies, and I sent out the link to it. I think it was pretty interesting because, I always talk in analogies. I always try to explain things, complex things by using simple analogies. And so somebody had basically picked up on that and went over a number of different appearances that I've made over the years and just kind of focused on the analogies and put them all together in a 9.5-minute clip. And I thought it was interesting because it's good at helping to explain, what's wrong with our economy and why the government policies supposedly to fix the economy are in fact making the economy worse. So that one is called Peter Schiff Analogies, and I think it's, so far it's about 30,000 views. I think pretty much it's been seen by my database. I don't think it's been picked up yet by all the blogs and everything, and like the other one. I don't know. I think the reason that the other one was so successful, and I don't think this one will be able to generate nearly as much of a buzz online, is I think that what was so good about the first one, at least good in that it made people want to watch it. It wasn't even so much that I was right about a lot of things. It was more that everybody else was so wrong, and the way they responded to what I said with the laughter and the ridicule. So I think, this one doesn't really have that. It just focuses on my analogy. So, people aren't going to be able to laugh at other people and say, look how these guys are wrong. And I think that's what, really got that thing. People like to look at people who are wrong, I think. Even though the people in that video weren't the only ones that were saying those things. Pretty much everybody. They were just echoing the sentiments of pretty much all the pundits on all the networks. They're the ones that just happen to be included in that video, and they're probably getting ridiculed, more than they should, because a lot of other people were saying things just as foolish. They just weren't caught on that YouTube clip. And of course, people generally said their most foolish things when I was on the air, because I was the one who was coming out predicting the gloom and doom, And so they would have to come back and say why I was so wrong. If I wasn't on the air with them, then they wouldn't, have to say those things because there was nobody else saying what I was saying. So it's just anybody who was unfortunate enough to be on television with me, they happened to be caught at their worst moments because I forced them to say things extreme that ultimately looked foolish, once everything happened. But also I know. Apparently, I haven't heard this. Somebody forwarded me. Mike Norman had said some things again, and I think apparently he's still getting the hate mail. I don't know, but I mean, what we don't want is I certainly don't want people to, look at what these people said on these things and go out of your way to send emails to Ben Stein or Art Laff or Mike Norman, negative emails. Oh, you're an idiot, you're a moron. I mean, you don't need to do that. I mean, I don't want, and it gives us a bad name too. Some of my fans or me. I mean, there's no reason, they were wrong. That's all. Like everybody else. I mean, they were, as I said, they were no more wrong than the thousands of others who got this completely wrong. They just, were not on the air with me and were not featured in the YouTube clip because there are plenty of other people who said things, just as foolish as these guys that were on the air with me. They didn't make that clip. I mean, whoever put it together, that's what he happened to choose. But there are plenty of other guys that could have been included and other big names that could have been on there that were acting just as foolishly. But anyway, you never want to send negative emails to people. I get them occasionally myself. I mean, I don't get that many, fortunately. I mean, most of my emails are positive, but, maybe 1 out of 100 somebody says, oh, you're a jerk or you're an idiot, you're a moron. But I think you definitely don't want to threaten people. I mean, that's, I think he told me one time off the air that people had given them death threats or something, and, obviously that's out of line. I mean, no matter what people do, you don't want to threaten people, you don't want to threaten their families. But anyway, let's go and, talk about what's been going on in the markets. I mean, again, the news just keeps getting worse. The economic numbers just keep coming out every single day, more horrific than people think. We keep getting new bailout monies. I mean, just in the last week, you can't even keep track of the hundreds of billions of dollars that gets authorized. I mean, now not only, are the auto companies look like they're going to get a bailout, but, now you got all the state governments. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger is declaring, I think, a state of emergency. You had all the governors were meeting across the country with Barack Obama, basically begging for money. And, of course, Barack Obama doesn't have any money. I mean, all they have is a printing press. And basically the state governors are saying, look, we can't print money. You can. So while you're running off all these trillions, can you run off some for us? And that's basically what's going on. And, the printing presses are just going to run a nonstop. And, now that they're going to bail out the auto companies, this is not the end, right? I mean, the government can't say no to a bailout at this point, right? I mean, since Lehman Brothers' failure is now being blamed for all the problems, which, of course, the only thing the government did right was not bailing out Lehman. But now, of course, all these problems are the result of the failure to bail out Lehman. So now everybody gets a bailout. But, now that they're bailing out the auto companies, who's next? And where do you draw the line? And the bottom line is you can't draw the line because how can the government play favorites? I mean, how can they say, well, this company can be bailed out but not another company? And, it's amazing, too. They keep going back to the Chrysler bailout of 25 years ago as an example of, the government